welcome. You're watching Medically Speaking. I am Meenakshi Upreti. Today we will be talking about an issue which has affected every medical professional. Why are we talking about it today? You may ask, because we are discussing freedom from violence against doctors. As far as the medical community, doctors are concerned, they are the ones who are saving our lives, but they are not free from violence. What can we do really to make the work atmosphere safer for them? Because they have to be safe to save our lives, to save us, as all of us are keeping our fingers crossed for the impending third wave of coronavirus. To discuss this in greater detail, I have Dr. Ajay Gambhir with us. He is from the DMA, he's Secretary DMA. I have Dr. Anil Goyal, he's Finance Secretary of the IMA. I have Dr. Ambrish, he's representing students' body here. And we will be joined very shortly in a minute or so by Dr. Manish, the president of FODA. I'm going to start with you, Dr. Gambhir, first. We are talking about violence against doctors. Unfortunately, we have seen many instances, sir, where doctors have been attacked and assaulted. Why do you think this is happening? We understand the agony of the patient, but how is it that patients really have the guts to take the law in their hand? Is it really a law and order problem? Or would you say it's more of a mindset change which is required, sir?
I think good question. Thanks for inviting. And with the changing scenario and the changing technology, the technology has not, we have not kept pace with the technology. The technologies do happen, and the expectation of the people are high, and definitely in any democratic country, the demand generations are high, and the demand generation for the doctors and the hospitals were high. But they also unrealistic expectation. You have used the right word, the mindset, the unrealistic expectation of the every relief, overload, the per doctor, the per bed availability in the different area differs, and especially the casualty services where the most of the problem do happen are lacking. So it is not one angle we have to look. It is a multifactorial. People have not kept the casualty is a place where we put the most junior doctor, most unexperienced doctor, or a doctor who is very, I will say, has a inertia, and it is not being supported by the senior. So casualty means where you have to take a quick decision, a quick observation, and you are the lawyer and you are the judge. You are the judge. So here we have to make a team and see to it the communication gets better, understanding gets better, and there is an involvement of paramedical and a doctor, both. So a lot of other people will have to speak. Yeah.
Point taken, Dr. Gambhir. Let me bring in Dr. Goyal also into the conversation at this point of time. Dr. Goyal, now Dr. Gambhir makes a very important point when it comes to communication. When we look at the doctor side as well, is there a scope for improving communication? Would you say that maybe in the medics, we have a student, a medico also here rather, would you say that MBBS students also should be taught how to communicate difficult news to the patients and their family members?
I would agree, Meenakshi ji, that there is always a scope for better communication. That how to communicate with the patients and relatives. So what we need to understand is this is not the only issue which we are thinking. We need to find out the genesis. One is what are the problems in government sector, what are the issues in private sectors which leads to this violence. So we need to systematically analyze these. This is not only the communication.
All right.
Now, if we go into the government sector, this is if you go the doctor and patient bed proportion. Like in OPD, one doctor is seeing 200 patients in 2 hours. It's not fine. Now they have to increase the number of doctors as well as proportionately number of paramedical personnel. See, communication or the bad communication starts not from the doctor, it starts from the reception. Kidhar jana hai? Where have I to go? And the person who is standing outside, then comes he's in the of impatient. That's the OPD thing. Now, if you are talking of the mortality and then telling the patient how to communicate, obviously, this is a very, very tricky situation. Even you have explained it previously that this patient may die, but at the time of death, the attendants have to be communicated in very, very polite manner, empathetic manner. That's fine. But thirdly, then there are patient and patients attendants actually who are not related to patient. They come and cause halla gulla. There may be the local goods. Then in private sector, there is question of billing also, which
I
comes into
think,
play. Suppose patient is staying in
yes,
ICU, then there is a fourth issue, the bills involved. Then they
yes.
want to waive it off that we are taking the body off. So you need
So
to
you have
understand.
made multiple points and we'll break them one by one. One is the
Yeah.
government responsibility. You're right. When it comes to healthcare spending, abysmally low. One is, of course, the economic burden, and then the communication part. I'm going to bring in, Dr. Ambrish at this point of time. Dr. Ambrish, as a young doctor, would you say it's extremely demotivating when you see instances of violence against your fellows, your seniors, and how do you all deal with it?
Ma'am, to be honest, I can see that when I saw that the Dr. Senapati of the Assam Medical College, he was brutally attacked.
Hmm.
It was such a scaring, such a devastating thing for us that we thought that if we did good thing to choose the medical profession, and there are many more cases like that. Doctors are beaten on the daily basis,
Yeah.
either any angry mob, anyone and there are the many, ma'am, there are the many reasons for that, because we are in the developing country, and there's a lots of overcrowding, and uneducated people, they even don't know about anything about any medical complication like that.
Right.
In that Karnataka, there was most senior pediatrician were brutally attacked because that the child was getting the complication of the dengue, and in the 4 days we
Point
only doctors
point taken. So you are
only
saying it's a
yes, ma'am.
two-way communication. I get your point. It's not just from your side. Also, illiteracy level in our country is very high when you try to explain things to the patient. I think Dr. Gambhir, important point, because
Yes,
you
ma'am.
started with communication. I'm
and
going to bring you a full
ma'am,
circle, Dr.
yes,
Gambhir.
ma'am. Yes,
Dr.
ma'am.
Ambrish,
And
point taken. I'll come
doctors,
back to you. I'll come back to you. So
thank
please
you,
hold
ma'am.
on. Let me get Dr. Gambhir also. So as far as communication is concerned, it's a two-way street, Dr. Gambhir. Illiteracy really a big problem in our country. Does that happen maybe with doctors that you're trying your level best to explain your point of view, but maybe the patient's family and relatives are not even well equipped to understand what the doctor is trying to explain to them?
So it's in the society we have to convey in a local language, and the
Okay.
information I have seen, the guys can communicate better when the patient used to come to us, a mother bleeding or the baby brought dead. It was difficult for the doctors to communicate. It was easily for the guys to do that. So
Yes.
the part is we have to learn, and we have to involve our nurses, paramedical technician. Doctor should not communicate as a ground as a first level. So we have to
Yeah.
make a team for and the same message should go from everywhere.
Right. I think very important point. I'll come to Dr. Goyal, but Dr. Manish, President Foda has also joined us. Dr. Manish, you joined us a little late. I was actually messaging you simultaneously, sir, but I'm glad you did join us for some time. I wanted to ask you, we're discussing really a plethora of things when it comes to stopping violence against doctors. Now, one of the important things, communication, we have already covered. Talking about the government spending, I think Dr. Goyal made a very important point. The government is spending very less amount, less than 1% of our GDP. And that's why there is a huge gap between patient expectations and what the doctors are delivering. How pertinent do you think is this point in the regard of this entire debate about violence against doctors? And does it add to the patient's agony and anger in a difficult time?
First of all, thank you for inviting me. I you that first of all, the infrastructure which we have is not adequate, is not sufficient to deal with the problem which we have in our country.
Yeah.
Secondly, as sir mentioned, that doctors to patient ratio is inappropriate. So that need to be corrected. That need to be increased. And thirdly, the people also need to understand that what kind of problem doctors are also facing. We are under huge pressure. Under huge pressure. If you come to our, let's talk about the Safdarjung itself. If you come to our OPD, you can see after 8:30 a.m. There's so many people are there outside the OPD, and a single doctor is treating the patient. So it's not possible. We are also human beings, and people need to understand this. So the government need to work on it, and they need to increase the number of doctors.
Dr. Goyal, do come in here. I think you raised a pertinent point if we've taken it forward when it comes to, of course, an abysmal doctor-patient ratio, and also really when it comes to our healthcare expenditure and the condition really of the healthcare in the country. How do we improve it, sir? I mean, even if the government wants, even if we start investing money today, it's going to take a couple of years to really make it even better. I'm not saying bring it equal. Meanwhile, how do we stop these vicious attacks against doctors?
See, as you are yourself telling me what is a possible solution. One solution is high risk area. First, now you manage high risk areas. What are high risk areas? These are casualties. These are the maternal emergencies. These are ICU areas where the most of the mishap occurs. So now we need to focus on these and increase spending on there, not only in the infrastructure, but also in the manpower. So what is in the private, what private is doing? Now you need to understand where there is no dearth of money, especially in corporate sector. So what they are doing is there is still you have violence. Why there is violence then? Then you need to understand that there is violence because of then their bills, or not only poor communication, because they are every day there is standard operating protocols where every day the patients, whoever is serious patient is being briefed by the consultant and ICU doctor. There also violence is taking place. So this is the kind of mindset because of which IMA is saying that we need a central legislation to prevent violence against doctors. Look, if you do not save your saviors, then something is wrong with the society also. We can't always keep on blaming the communication system. We can't blame the government system. We can't blame the private sector because it is charging quite a lot of bill. Lots of now these bills are also being curtailed. Like in CGHS, there is a certain embargo on the rates.
What's the focus? No, sir, I'll tell you what my problem with this argument is that the focus is still on tertiary.
Just give me one more
focus is on tertiary. Look at Ayushman Bharat. The focus is on tertiary, isn't it?
No, you are right. What I'm saying is try to understand this tertiary. Whenever there is a tertiary care or there is maternity services or there is an overcrowded OPD, there is bound to be chaos and there is bound to be mishaps. So because they are high risk areas, there are patients who are coming seriously. Even in the pregnancy cases, nobody knows who can have a postpartum hemorrhage and patient may die of that. Still, the communication is of course the key, but now the awareness to the society is also important. That society had to understand then medicine is not 100%. So, and if they do not understand voluntarily, we need a legislation, that is central legislation, to prevent violence against doctors. That's what I'm proposing.
Fine, fair point, sir. I'm going to take it forward with, of course, Dr. Manish. But let me bring in, of course, a medico at this point of time. Dr. Amrish, come in here. Help us understand, really, when we're speaking of communication, you know, when you, as you are studying, were you really, or are you taught at all about communication, sensitivity, when it comes to conveying difficult news to a patient's relative in the moment of agony? Is that a challenge, according to you?
Ma'am, it's a very, very challenging situation because the patient and their attendant, they really didn't want to say, to listen anything. They just, for everything, for any mishappening, either any mishappening done by anyone in the hospital, either nurse, either medical staff, either he has to go for the long wait for the OPD registration or any procedure. For everything, doctors are responsible. Only doctor, they make responsible only doctors for any mishappening, for any complication. They didn't want to listen anything. They just say doctor ने मारा है, doctor ने ये किया है. So ma'am,
so ये mentality है कि कुछ हो गया तो doctor ने किया है. So that is a mentality which we need. The question was, you know, as Dr. Goyal had suggested, we need central legislation. I was saying that we already have a lot of laws, but the problem is implementation. Do we need more marshals, more policemen outside every OPD, every OT? Is that a practical solution? or that changing mindset is just theoretical and not practical?
See, like I mentioned earlier, also people, we need to change the mindset of the people. Actually, no, it's very tough to change the mindset of the people because, yeah, we need to change the mindset of the people, and they need to understand
Okay.
when this pandemic came, like Corona. Just take example of Corona. When this pandemic came, no one was there. Uh, Obviously, government was there, and obviously doctors were in the forefront, who fought for them and who saved many lives without thinking of their self, without thinking of their life. They prefer to save the life of the patients.
So the question was, sir, as far as changing mindset is concerned, it's a longer process. Do you think we need to try and change mindset, or
Ma'am, as you said that it will take time, it will take longer time to make people understand. But as you said that we can't put marshals and police at the OPD. But ma'am, if I will tell you the real situation, we don't even have a proper guard at the casualty at emergency center. At least we should have one or two policemen or guard at the ICU and at the casualty, so that if any mishappening happen, even any mobs come, they can control. We don't even have any the proper police, any proper marshal at the casualty. I'm talking about the hospital of the Delhi. So ma'am, if it
that's the problem. You feel threatened. You feel the security isn't adequate.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Gambhir, would you want to comment at this point of time if your audio and your network is a little better?
Yeah. Tell me. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
go
it's
ahead. So
okay.
do you think that we need more policemen on ground inside hospitals? Is that really a practical solution?
Some sort of security or guard or indications are good enough, but policeman is not the answer. Because you cannot control the mob, and once the mob comes and count one policeman is the first person to run away. So it is a false sense of security. My security is that I have my own security. I have a camera installed in a casualty in a different place. I have another exit. Sometimes the rowdy people come.
Dr. Manish, we're discussing a point which you had started to begin with about
I would
how,
like to add something.
go ahead, sir, please.
Yeah. I think last month in 12th of July, we had a meeting with the Director General of Health Services, DGHS, where all the stakeholders were invited in that meeting. IMA was also there, FODA was also there, as well as the Commissioner of Police was also there in that meeting. Deputy Commissioner was there in that meeting. In that meeting, actually, we were asked to put our suggestions how to stop the violence. And from FODA side, we had given few suggestions to the DGHS to stop the violence. And in fact, all the stakeholders have given their suggestions. And this day before yesterday, I got to know that they are working on it, and they are trying to bring that into the parliament, as far as I know.
Right. But Dr. Goyal coming here, so I think Dr. Manish has spoken about how FODA, IMA, all of you have gone and made representation to the government. You've met even police officials, the uppermost, highermost when it comes to the commissioners as well. But why is it that there is no fear of law? Do you see that cases do not reach their logical conclusion? Is there political interference? What is it that despite of having, we do have some stringent laws, despite of having laws, despite of you making multiple representations to the government, violence against doctors is not stopping, sir?
Now, let me put it in right perspective. 28 states in the country has Prevention of Violence Against Doctors Act. That is number one, you were asking earlier. But there is no IPC connection in these laws. Therefore, the police personnel, they do not understand in which dhara it has to be booked. That is why we are talking of a central legislation with IPC and CRPC codes. That is one point. Indian Medical Association has raised this issue of central legislation because of this reason only. Because Delhi also has a prevention of violence against. But the police personnel does not know which dhara to use. Second part is there is no awareness that this act is available. That's why we talked in the DGHS meeting, which Manish was referring to, that the Honorable Commissioner of Delhi Police or any state needs to communicate to Thana level that there is an act available and this dhara has to be put in. So Central Act is must. We need to understand that. Second part
Right.
is that IMA is saying, not only the Central Act, the hospital has to be declared a protected zone. There, so with the safety which is needed in a protected zone. That is what second point is IMA is saying. Third point is whosoever is the perpetrator of violence needs to be booked, and there should be a 7 to 10 years non-bailable offense. Then only this can be stopped, unless we have stringent punishments and their implementation. You said the second part is the implementation of whatever acts are available is not there.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
one is lack of awareness in the police personnel, and second is the doctors and hospital management does not want that they to be booked. Why they do not want? Because of the tardy delay in judgment process, delay in the justice. So they do not want further harassment by these local hooligans, whosoever has caused violence. There's a third point which I would like to raise. So if there is a speedy justice, speedy trial and speedy justice with a time-bound frame, that's what IMA is saying as a third point. Whatever crime happens, it has to be tried in a time-bound manner within a period of 1 year. There should be a logical conclusion. That's what IMA is saying. That's the third point. And these three,
Okay.
by these points, I think we can certainly curtail violence against doctors, not 6 months, not in 1 year, even say in 5 years time. And of course, my last point is when minimum 5% of GDP has to be spent on healthcare. This, I think the present government has understood this, and they are going to implement this very, very soon. That is what I understand.
All right. As we're moving towards a closure of this debate, Dr. Amrish, last points to you. Would you agree with Dr. Goyal? You have throughout been demanding stricter laws and better implementation.
Ma'am, we all are demanding from the many times. The Central Act is very necessary. As Sir Will said, that even the policemen don't know that which dhara has to act. As you can see that only 2% has FIR have been lodged against the violence, because the policemen really don't know kaun sa dhara karna hai, kaun sa kya karna hai. And ma'am, in short term, we all need some security personnel and CCTV camera. At least it should be installed at the sensitive places like ICU, casualties.
Right. Dr. Manish, we have the third wave coming in, inevitable. It may not be as devastating as second wave, but there is a fear amongst people. I hope, and we are all, of course, hoping that we will not see such type of casualties that we did in the second wave. But how prepared are you really when it comes to dealing with any unfortunate incident, if at all, that happens of violence against doctors? How well equipped do you think are we today, or you see there's no difference?
As far as mentally, doctors are always prepared for this. We are always prepared. And as far as the equipment are concerned, what I know about the Safdarjung Hospital, I am in Safdarjung Hospital. We are now fully equipped with.
No, I'm trying to ask, sir, are the doctors feeling a little better when it comes to violence against doctors? Do they feel protected? Because we had seen some incidents and some state governments have come out and said.
Not at all. We are not feeling protected. We are not at all feeling protected. You can see every day there is a violence against doctors. You can across the country, 1 or 2 incidents daily. It happens daily. So we are not at all protected.
Right. I would have liked to take a word from Dr. Gambhir, but I think he's really having a network trouble. Dr. Goyal, last word to you, sir. I think you're very cogently and coherently, in a very pragmatic way, brought together all the points, what is needed to be done. Central Act, you need more government spending. But what I really want to ask, last word to you, sir, what should be done as of today? More CCTV cameras, more security personnel, right? That's a solution. But how do we increase awareness amongst people? How do we make people, one, fearful of the law and respectful of the doctors, to say the least?
Programs like KIOS program will certainly bring back violence against doctors into focus. And I must compliment you for this. That is one. And second part is, obviously, the government is also understanding this, that the awareness of public is very, very important to save the saviors. Otherwise, tomorrow, no doctor will try to have serious patients, and as is happening in secondary care hospitals, they are not treating serious patients. And these are the family hospitals. The persons who are coming there are coming from the nearby 5-10 kilometers area who have a family relationship with the doctors. They are not treating them because of the fear of violence. So this fear of violence has to go for the sake of the society. What I am saying is society needs to understand that if somebody who is creating violence is in a hospital should be socially outcast. That's my take on this. If society understands this, I think society is also understanding, especially in COVID era, they have seen how doctors have worked hard 24 hours a day. 1,500.
Yes.
You know how many doctors? More than 1,500 doctors died in the first wave and in the second wave also. They gave their lives for what? They gave their lives to treat these COVID patients, and in turn, they got themselves COVID. So the public is now also understanding, but we need to keep into focus, like the vaccine, like the phone calls. Please save your doctors; they will save you. Something like that. So of course, CCTV cameras and the security personnel and stricter laws. But ultimately, we need more manpower, especially in government sector, depending on proportionate to the number of patients being attended in last 1 year. Like if say a doctor can't see a patient in OPD in less than 5 minutes. So accordingly, the manpower infrastructure has to be increased. It is not only manpower, but the infrastructure also. For that, you need money. So that's
more spending.
We need. We are saying.
Absolutely, sir. More spending, better infrastructure, more security when it comes to, of course, hospital premises. But what's paramount is awareness and a realization amongst the people that we need to save our saviors. Showering flower petals. Yes, go ahead, Dr. Manish. Just one quick word because I need to close.
Yeah, COVID is the biggest example which the people can understand. It's only the doctors who can save you, who are standing in the front, and who can save you is only the doctors. COVID is the biggest example. They should understand this.
Frontline workers need to be saved, and right at the front is doctors who are saving our lives. Save your saviors to save yourself. I think it's an extremely important point. Showering petals on doctors, great gesture, but we need to take it beyond lip service, give them the due respect. The least we can do is ensure that there is no violence against those who are risking their life to save us. Thank you all for watching. I'd like to thank all my panelists. There was a bit of a network issue, but I hope we've been able to conduct a decent debate. And I hope someone in the government is listening as well. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Meenakshi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. ये show will be telecast tomorrow at 7 p.m. on NewsX. मैं आपको इसकी link दे दूंगी, and we'll be writing some articles on it, and I'll give it to you. We're recording it because of BB glitches, and we'll edit it out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.